Hockey Show, and today we're talking all about the Boston Bruins and just how freaking good they are this season. It shouldn't come as a surprise, but it also damn well is, as this team in this offseason, they go from setting the NHL's best season ever. And then they lose their top two centers, and one of them being one of the, in my opinion, like top three Bruin of all time at least. David Bergeron, David Krejci isn't that bad of a player. They lose him as well. They trade away Nick Foligno and Taylor Hall, a former Hart winner. And all of their trade deadline pickups are gone, right? A team that went from looking like the most stacked, well-rounded, from superstars to depth to goaltending and defense. No team has ever looked better. They lose all of that in the offseason, and yet they are still here in second place in the NHL with the Golden Knights 1 point in front of them. And both of them look like they can once again break the Bruins' last season record and set a new best season in the NHL ever. As they are 12-1-2, 26 points. This team is so good. Just like the Golden Knights. I think the 1 point the Knights are in front of them is like a perfect examination of them. I think the Golden Knights are just a little bit better and a little bit more well-rounded than the Bruins here, but they are just up there with them as well. They're first in goals against, which is going to come into play later when I talk about what makes them so good, because that is the question. Why? How the hell did this Bruins squad, this Boston team, go from looking like shambles and losing everything that they had to then, like, everyone at least guessing that they wouldn't be top in the league at least. Like, maybe top 3 in the Atlantic, maybe wild card, at least making the playoffs, but, like, in the mix, but not going to be the top. And here they are surprising, I would hope, surprising everyone. If someone said they called this, they're lying, because you wouldn't have known. So how are they so good? The simple answer is that the best case scenario is what has happened. Instead of the center depth just going to hell, it has stayed strong. Zacha and Coyle, they're still not David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron, but they are holding their own. They have those positions, and they're doing well with them. They're not just throwaways, right? Zacha and Coyle are good centermen. They're not stealing the show, right? They're not going to be voted for there's a Selke like Bergeron would have. They're not running the power play or something, but Zacha and Coyle are holding their own and getting the job done for them. And then the surprise comeuppance of Matthew Poitras, I forget, whatever. 8 points plus 4. All of them in the pluses. Plus 7, plus 2, plus 4, 12 points for Zacha and Coyle. They're producing, they're keeping the puck out of the net just like the whole team is. And that's Matthew on the third line, just killing it. Just unreal for that guy. 8 points, 4 goals, 4 assists, holding that third line. So the center depth, great. That was the worry, right? My whole thing was saying, like, how if you take any other team and just take away their top 2 centermen, right? Let's take a team like, let's see here, the Golden Knights. If we took away Chandler Stevenson and Jack Eichel, that team is nowhere near where they're. I mean, they're still good, but they're not where they're supposed to be at. Let's take the Islanders, right? It's probably Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat, maybe? He's a winger, isn't he? Whatever, right? You get the idea, though. You take away any other team's top 2 centermen, they are done for, right? They at least are hurt. This team is thriving still, and it's because the other guys on the team are not letting the slack go. And Pasta and the Rat, Marchand and Pasternak, not letting anything slow them down. And guys like McDavid, guys like Tage Thompson, they are not letting things slow down. David Pasternak, 11 goals, 24 points this season, top 10 in the NHL. Brad Marchand, 7 goals, 16 points. He's still playing strong. Having a better year than last year, I would say, as the captain. And they're not letting things go. But it's not the offense that is making this team amazing, right? They're the ones that are keeping them in the game. So if they're not in anything, they're not crazy and up in goals for. What they are is first in goals against. As the defense of this team is right behind, I would say, the Golden Knights. Maybe you could put some teams above them, but they're at least, at bare minimum, top 5. But they're, I would say, probably top 3. But the defense of this team, first in goals against, first on the penalty kill at 91.2%. So when they on the other team gets a power play, the Bruins are shutting them down all day of the week. And it shouldn't be a surprise. McAvoy is a defensive giant. He's underrated. I don't get how more people don't talk about him, right? Lindholm back there as well. I mean, the whole defensive core. It's just this, I would say, the core is great. The defensive core of the Bruins is great. But an interesting stat is that they are not in, like, the top 10 of, like, keeping shots against away. They're 14th for when it comes to getting shots against them, and that is when their amazing goaltending tandem comes into play. Ullmark and Swayman, 2.23 goals against average for Ullmark, a .928 save percentage. I mean, everything when it comes to defense for this team is like 90 percentile. You know what I mean? They are just shutting everything down. Other teams can't score against them, and it's the same way the Golden Knights play. The Golden Knights keep the puck out of the net. It's just they have a little bit more offensive threat in their lineup than the Bruins do. And for the Bruins, it's incredible. This is the best case scenario. Then the acquisitions that they got to replace some of the people that they lost. And James Van Riem's he's got up to an 11 points, right? So he's playing well as well. Guys like Trent Frederick are just playing strong. Jake DeBrusk is on the third line. He's not a bad player. I mean, the whole Bruins squad is great. It is a fantastic team, top to bottom. There's nothing wrong, nothing you can really complain about when it comes to this team. So, really, the only thing you could complain about is maybe getting down to the depth, right? That is where things might get a little sketchy. Because that fourth line isn't truly the best fourth line in the NHL. And maybe once you get to crunch time, right, where you get to the playoffs, that is when this team's going to have to worry. Because when it comes to cap space, they got none. When it comes to trading away things, they have none. I don't think they have a single, or they don't have a top 3 pick, I don't think, this upcoming draft. They only have their first round pick next year. They don't have a lot of tradable things. So this is kind of the team that they've got going forward. And for the regular season, I think they're going to be fine. I think this team isn't going to slow down. I don't think this team, they're going to give up. But if I were the Bruins, it's kind of crazy to say. But when it comes to the trade deadline, like when it comes to the Ullmark and Swayman situation, what's more likely? This team to keep carrying on and be this good? Or things start to drop out like next season with guys like Marchand, guys like Spencer. You're going to have to make a choice between Ullmark and Swayman, the defense, offense, right? Second line is James Van Riem's. That's not going to last forever. Guys like Charlie Coyle is up in their 30s now. Something's going to give sooner than later. So do they go full in once again this season to try to win? Or do they start selling things away like Ullmark and go into the playoffs, maybe hoping that they can have a Panthers-type run? Or do they go all in like they did last season once again? They can't really do option B. So option A is the better of the two and just kind of let this team ride and get rid of some things that they can cut off and see what happens and try to elongate the success for years. But I don't know. It's an interesting team. They're an amazing team that doesn't really feel like they have a super long shelf life after this season. But for right now, this team is absolutely incredible. And they're living. They're living right now. The jerseys. Well, I gotta say that this jersey right here, the new home one, I'm not the biggest fan. This one, though, the alternate with the 1924 on it, that jersey is unbelievable. The white ones, I know this is kind of off topic, but the white ones are atrocious. I think the white ones are a horrible jersey, and probably the worst looking hockey matchup currently right now is the Sharks versus the Bruins. Those two jerseys are the two ugliest in the NHL, and the Sharks home versus the Bruins away. That game that happened was the worst looking game of all time. Just saying. But anyways, that is all I gotta say. So if you've made it this far, please, I'm begging you, pick up your free subscription. And until next time, Too Sweet, have an amazing day. And ta-ta for now.